A family went on vacation and left with something a little extra after a medical emergency. Nakaya Carrero has a story about the life-changing trip.
We were playing games, and the last thing I remember is that my husband won the Uno game.
The Pogue family traveled from Missouri and spent the day exploring the Badlands at Theodore Roosevelt National Park. They then returned to their hotel room for the night when Julie Pogue says the unexpected happened.
And I can tell you exactly the cards that I had in my hand, and I set them down on the table. And that is the last thing I remember.
We were actually talking for a few minutes after what Julie remembers.
Julie's husband, Corey, says it was after the short conversation when Julie had a sort of spasm.
Where she kind of pulled her arms up like this, and I kind of looked over and I'm like, what are you doing? And she didn't respond.
Julie was transported by ambulance to the emergency room at Dickinson, and that's when they realized she needed more medical attention than they could provide. She was then airlifted in the middle of the night to the emergency room here in Bismarck.
I got to go in and give her a kiss and just talk to her for a minute, and then we watched her be loaded onto the helicopter and fly away. We went back to the hotel, got our stuff, checked out, and drove.
Corey says they got to Bismarck at about 2 in the morning.
I remember at one point the nurses were talking, and I said, okay, what's going on? And they said, well, based on what you just experienced, you shouldn't be able to speak in a full sentence, and you're telling us stories. And we're just like, wow, this is amazing.
Julie's diagnosis was a heart block, which occurs when the electrical signals from the top chambers of the heart don't conduct correctly to the bottom chambers. Typically, it happens over time, making her sudden case unusual.
The typical case, usually your heart slows down and you might get dizzy, you might feel lightheaded, but to actually require CPR is pretty unusual.
A 3-day-long hospital stay, an operation, and one of the world's smallest pacemakers directly into her heart. Julie's life completely changed forever.
I feel like I have a second chance at life, and I'm very grateful because I want to be there for my kids. I want to see my kids graduate. I want to see my grandkids.
Reporting for KX News in Bismarck, I'm Nakaya Carrero.
Since the surgery, Pogue says she now has a completely different lifestyle. She's changed what she eats and doesn't go out to eat as often. She also says she's never felt better.